With the centre differential built and ready to go, we're ready for bag B in our Tekno EB48 2.1 build, and we're sticking with differentials in this bag, both front and rear. We're sticking with differentials in bag B, and although the bag seems larger than bag A, that's because there are two differentials to build here, both front and rear. Again, both diff cups and the gear set within were optional parts with the predecessor and are standard with this 2.1 kit, making them more refined than ever before. We won't cover this bag in as much depth as it's the exact same process as the centre differential from the previous video, the only difference being the metal ring gear that seals the differential cup rather than the spur gear. So, cracking on, let's grease the recess within the cup and the outdrive groove, before inserting the bearing and the outdrive through into the cup. On with the greased O-ring, the shim, and the outdrive pin with some needle nose pliers to help. Next, a few drops of 7000 CST oil, and we drop in the first gear, making sure it's seated on the pin by giving the outdrive a little turn. Fill with some more oil, just enough to partially cover the bottom gear, before inserting the first gear set, and the second gear set, and then checking the gears are all meshed nicely, and topping up with more oil, 1mm below the top of the cup, before popping the final gear on top. That done, we now grease the recess in the differential ring gear, and the groove on the top outdrive, before inserting the bearing, and pushing through the ring gear, holding in place with the greased O-ring, a shim, and finally the outdrive pin. With the centre gasket greased on both sides, place on top of the differential, taking care to line up the holes, and carefully line up the ring gear as you lower into position, just as we did with the centre differential, giving the outdrive a slight turn to ensure the pin is meshed with the top gear, before inserting and tightening down all 4 screws, corner to corner, while being careful not to over tighten, just until they are nice and flush with the top gear. That's the front differential done, turning nice and freely and ready to place alongside the spur gear for later use. We have one more differential to build, which will be the rear. The build process is exactly the same, so no need to cover it yet again, although this time ensure the differential is filled using the 5000 weight diff oil and not the 7000. That's literally the only difference between the front and rear differentials. That's bag B complete and all 3 differentials ready and built. I'd recommend marking which differential has the 5000 weight oil, as there's nothing else to distinguish the front from the rear, and you really do not want to get these mixed up. So with the new diff cups and gears, we also have a difference in the differential oil from the predecessor, dropping down to 7000 and 5000 with this 2.1 kit. Quality is top notch as expected, so let's keep going and I'll see you in the next video along with bag C, the front gearbox.